At least 21 trucks have been torched since Saturday in 5 separate incidents spread across KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga and Limpopo. Police Minister eNCA has been saying that law enforcement is working around the clock to curb attacks on trucks. Authorities have made a breakthrough with the arrest of 2 suspects in Mpumalanga. As we continue to monitor the attacks on those trucks, our reporter Siphamandla Goge joins us now for an update from Durban. Siphamandla, we heard from the Premier. What is the Premier saying about the torching of trucks in KZN specifically?
Well, it's the same statement that the government is worried. They are calling on law enforcement authorities to do more to ensure that those who are alleged to be behind this are brought to book. And remember, she had a media briefing today just immediately after police had confirmed that they have arrested 2 suspects who are alleged to be involved in this torching of trucks in Mpumalanga. The pair is aged between 29 and 27. They were arrested in Piet Retief and in Emelo this morning, according to the police. So though that will be something that many people will welcome, because there have been concerns about the slow pace in terms of investigating such related cases. And what is more worrying and shocking is that in KwaZulu-Natal, according to the Premier today, whom we had to ask and double check as to how many cases are outstanding regarding the torching of the trucks since 2018 in KwaZulu-Natal. Remember, this province is regarded as one of the high-risk areas. The strategic N3 between Durban and Gauteng is particularly of concern, because every time there are incidents of torching of trucks, somehow, somewhere, there will be something happening on the N3, whether Van Riebeeck, Mooi River, or closer to Durban. Hence, there is the deployment of the soldiers. But this is how the Premier responded about those outstanding cases. Let's please take a listen.
There are 107 cases that have been investigated so far, or that are being investigated so far by the police for the previous incidents. And for these incidents, investigations are ongoing. We are awaiting to get the briefing on the update of what it is that is happening and what it is that we need to do in order to work with all law enforcement agencies to enforce the laws. And you would have seen that with our cameras that are on the roads, with municipal cameras and all other infrastructure that was used, that is why it was easy to identify some of those and get those investigations and imminent arrests that are pending.
Now, Siphamandla, the Premier there speaking about cameras, we now have all seen the visuals that have gone viral of allegedly one of these perpetrators actually in the process of setting a truck alight and it being recorded on a in-truck camera. These perpetrators are risking life and limb as part of this instigation of violence. We've had arrests being made in Mpumalanga. Any talk of arrests in KZN?
Well, based on what the Premier has said and the Police Minister has said, I would assume that there are imminent arrests in KwaZulu-Natal, simply because, according to the Premier, a number of persons of interest have been identified. Remember, Police Minister General eNCA saying there are about 12 people that they are trying to check. Those are the persons of interest, and it would appear that these 2 arrests that have been made are somehow linked to that number that was announced by the Minister of Police yesterday. In KwaZulu-Natal, the Premier says she has been briefed that there are indeed a number of people that are being investigated and followed by the police. Let's please take a listen to her.
The persons of interest, there are about 9 of those on the side of KZN that have been identified. I do not know whether they are within that 12 that you spoke about, but the ones that have been identified in KZN already is 9. And others already, as I indicated, they are already gone for questioning.
So we've got authorities desperately trying to put out fires and to put a cap on this latest flare-up of truck-related violence. Is there any talk as yet of a long-term solution to this crisis?
It's a difficult one to answer, but the authorities will tell you that, well, law enforcement agencies and authorities must work hard in ensuring that those who are accused or alleged to be participating in this are arrested and brought to book. But what is worrying and shocking in KwaZulu-Natal is that since 2018, as per the Premier's statistics, 107 cases related to the torching of trucks have been investigated. There is no clear information of how many arrests, if any at all, have taken place, how many successful prosecutions and convictions. And it's something that worries the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, who says, well, maybe it's time to consider bringing in or launching or establishing what is known as the special courts that will deal specifically with such cases, because she appears to be somehow embarrassed and I would say frustrated by the slow pace of investigations and arrests, including possible prosecutions of those who are accused or alleged to be part of this. But remember, she's part of this government, so she will not go on TV and bash the very same government that she's part of. However, her tone suggests that she's frustrated and she's calling for the establishment of special courts to deal with this, because she says if there is no action, if there are no people who are arrested and successfully prosecuted, the public will lose trust in the law enforcement agencies and criminal justice system in this country. Let's take a listen to the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal.
As part of the law enforcement intervention by the cluster, we will also ensure that a special team is assembled that looks at the organized crime unit to investigate some of these cases. The people of interest also that have been taken for questioning by the police. We are closely following those matters on the leads, but also ensuring that we're working with all other law enforcement, including the private security industry. The cluster also is looking at the matters of justice department in terms of ensuring that at least we even establish the special courts in order to deal with some of these cases, because we believe that probably the jam and the non-prosecution of those cases on time does actually delay justice that we want to see happening in some of these matters.
Well, that is the very latest from my colleague Siphamandla Goge reporting to us live there from Durban as KwaZulu-Natal's response to this latest flare-up in violence directed at trucks on important roads here in South Africa. We thank him for that update.